Nope, right now we're.
Okay, welcome everyone. Greetings and welcome to the Cannabis Task Force of Manhattan Community Board 4. I need to read to you our policy. So MCB4 has adopted a hybrid meeting policy whereby we will meet in person with a remote option. All community board meetings will require an in-person quorum, which we have, so this meeting has begun, to come to order and conduct business. Committee members are expected to attend meetings in person unless they have a disability or an extraordinary circumstance, as defined by the New York State Opens Meetings Law. Excused committee members attending remotely can fully participate in the meeting and must have their cameras on. We do not have any members of this task force that are participating remotely, and so we have everyone that is on this task force in the room. Due to the public health best practices and space limitations, we encourage members of the public to join virtually. Members of the public that are attending remotely can fully participate in the meeting. The MCB4 hybrid policy can be found on our website, nyc.gov/MCB4 or Manhattan Community Board 4.org.
NYC.
.nyc.
MCB4.nyc.
Yes. Next to Lowell Card.
Okay, can you please repeat that, Lowell?
MCB4.nyc.
Thank you. That way it's corrected. And welcome all. Tonight's meeting is being recorded and is currently live streaming on YouTube. So please tune in anytime you'd like to relive these experiences. So we'll quickly introduce ourselves on the task force. I'm Dolores Rubin. We've had a change in the task force and I'm currently serving as chair of the task force.
My name is Raul Larios, and I live in Hell's Kitchen.
Rodney Washington, and I live in Chelsea.
Alan Oster from Chelsea. Sandra Miller, Hell's Kitchen.
Lowell Current Chelsea.
And I'm in Clinton, which is the name that I grew up with there. So in any case, we have a very short agenda, but I would like to at least level set for folks that may be new to coming to this task force and why we actually engage in this conversation surrounding the rollout of legal cannabis. Essentially, as many of you are aware, it has taken a while for the process for candidates for specifically opening up dispensaries has come to this point where we are having an opportunity to review. In the past 2 years, we've seen around most of this city, a lot of places that say cannabis or that say dispensary, most of these are illegal. That is not the focus of why we're here. For most of this evening, we will have a discussion as the fourth item on the agenda. But the purpose here is to facilitate a community conversation with applicants. There, as you know, there are two different buckets of applicants. There's the card applicants. Those had already gone through a process earlier, some of which had been granted licenses. And then there was a lawsuit which held that up. Concurrently, there went through another process, which we're seeing those additional applicants. What also confuses it even more, I'm trying to make this as confusing as it actually is the fact that there is something called proximity protection, which we were informed that there are folks that went through the process by already securing a place, and those places are going to have preference in terms of getting those licenses. However, we have folks that have gone through the normal process and have opened the window, the 30-day window for engaging with the community, which they're doing through the community board here. They're going to speak to us about their proposed operation, and our role as a community board is to assess whether or not these applicants make sense to be opening in our community, and also to allow for the public to voice their concerns and considerations for us to take into account. So we are not going to be discussing with each of these applicants whether or not they should or should not be in this business. We're not also looking to go ahead and determine whether or not they are already following the guidelines that have been set by OCM. We are simply trying to assess whether or not it makes sense at this time, at these locations, and this operator is a good fit for the community. So with that, let's just move into the first agenda item, and we'll see if anyone is here. This is for 807 9th Avenue, which is between 53rd and 54th Street, Bar 9 Entertainment Corp. If you are here from Bar 9, if you're able to raise your hand virtually, and we'll just bring you over. We'll give that another 30 seconds. You recognize anybody?
I don't.
Okay, all right. So just to keep it rolling, we're gonna move to the next item, which is Chelsea Convenience More Corp. 142 9th Avenue between West 18th and West 19th Street. If you are here from Chelsea Convenience More Corp, can you please raise your virtual hand and Jesse will bring you over. I see Hector's.
Yeah, I think he's here to speak on this topic, but
Gotcha.
Hector, we'll bring you over after the presentation, okay?
Hello.
Hi there, welcome. So we're going to give you some time to go ahead and present on the location as well as your proposed method of operation. Welcome.
Welcome. Hi. First of all, I would like to thank you guys for the opportunity to have this conversation. Okay, so should I just dive in, start straight ahead?
Sure, and if you have a presentation, you're welcome to share. You can
Okay.
share them if you have it, or if you're going to talk us through it, however you are prepared to present.
Okay, so first things first, I would like to talk about the security plan because when I first sent in the information or the notices about having this or attending this community board meeting, I saw a couple of responses that had some questions or that had some, I would guess, worries about some certain topics. So I would like to begin my presentation with first addressing these topics because I understand that the community is very concerned about these specific topics. So
Sure, with apologies, sorry to interrupt, but we'd like, just for being on the record, for you to introduce yourself and to introduce the company itself.
okay, my name is Shaker Alomoush, ShakerAlomoush. I'm authorized to represent the business, Ms. Wafa Al Abli. It's because this is the month of Ramadan. She and her family are not in the US, so that's why I'm presenting this instead. So thank you guys for having me. So the business, as you might know, she has applied on behalf of herself under her name. So yeah, should I begin with the security plan?
Please, go ahead.
Okay, I believe I already sent the email itself to you guys, so you guys can, I think, have already copies of it. However, I can gladly go through it again. So first things first, I would like to address the surveillance system. So as you are aware, surveillance cameras shall be installed. They shall cover main access points such as the main door, the front desk, the back room, the location, the cash register, and basically the floor of the premises. Surveillance shall also cover the outside of the premises, the sidewalk, the outer area where people might wait in line to enter the store. Security cameras shall not be turned off. They shall be turned on 24/7. They, as per OCM rules, they shall provide clear, high resolution, colored images. They shall be time-stamped and dated, and they shall be also transmitted to a secure device. I'm gonna go also to address one of the, I guess, points that people brought in was that children, basically, that they were children and that might pass by the store. So for this, the business also intends to have, how can I, 1 second. Okay, the business does intend to have the outer glass, like it shall be a privacy glass in the sense of people outside the store shall not be able and will not be able to look inside the store. And so the vision inside the store will be obscure. we will assure that the dispensary shall not be very, I would say, very out there, very loud, very easy to spot, and very easy to see inside, because we do care about the limiting the access and how limiting the access of marijuana and the paraphernalia related to it, limiting the access of it to children or kids or minors. So first of all, we as a business or as a dispensary, we are trying to steer away from the stigma of the bad dispensaries and the reputation that dispensaries have and the stereotypes that they are dangerous places or they are places where trouble gathers or trouble might occur there. As you might know, the applicant herself is a mother of five. She understands firsthand the importance of shielding children and minors from the easy access to marijuana, vapes, and anything related to it. Therefore, we would initially want to hire basically veterans as security, as they are usually the first beneficiaries of positive marijuana intake and usage. They have been very good examples for people that introduce marijuana into their day-to-day lives. And furthermore, they are one of the designated groups that the OCM wants to empower and help develop and grow within the marijuana or the legal cannabis industry. So the applicant herself cares about this. She sees that women as well as veterans have a place in this market, and therefore she would like to have the integration of veterans within the business. So in the first sense of it, yeah, they would like to, introduce this dispensary in a different light other than as you kindly like mentioned before, that currently in New York, many smoke shops or illegal dispensaries are popping up. They play loud music. They're not regulated. They're not, very organized. The people affiliated with the stores are not usually the most, I would say, friendly looking people, or they wouldn't be the most polite or unloud people. However, we ourselves, we would like to state from now, because this business is owned and shall be owned by a mother of five, this business aims to be a family friendly, very welcoming, polite, quiet, a reserved business in a busy and main street, and so, okay, I'm veering off.
Okay, well, that's okay. Thank you, Sheikh. Just for the sake of for the folks that may not have had access to reading the materials you provided for us, this is a space that they're already operating in. Can you explain what is there currently and
Well,
for conversion?
so currently, I'm sorry, I didn't hear the second part of the question. Can you
Sure,
repeat that?
just that this is a location that the applicant is already owns or already is leasing. Can you explain that and the plans for conversion to a cannabis dispensary? Can you talk a little bit to that?
Yes, of course. So first of all, it's currently being operated as a convenience store, as you might see. It has the regular like market standard requirements for any convenience store. However, for the switch, as you might, I also attached the proposed floor plan for it. We for the renovation of the dispensary, we would like to have a waiting area before entering the main space, before accessing the products, the inventory and everything. So this main area, first of all, people would walk in the first primary door. The person outside, the security guard, would check in the IDs. If everything fits, everything's okay, they get buzzed in and to enter this waiting area. After this waiting area, they will be processed. They will be, admitted as, I would say, customers. We would take like basic information just to make sure that everything is clear, everything is good, that this person has nothing, like no issues about this person. This person is not banned anywhere else and stuff like this. After that, they would be buzzed into the main floor. When they enter, they shall be met with a salesperson that shall be helping them, that would help them, guide them through the entire process. What would they like? What are they interested in? What's the purpose of their entire visit here? So we can provide them with the best experience we can do. The products shall be encased in bulletproof glass. It shall not be easy to access. No one will have access to the products other than the manager, the day-to-day manager that is going to be working there. Everything can and will be displayed and as per the OCM rules. However, nothing shall be accessed. No cannabis related product shall be easy to access or easy to get. Everything shall be inside the glass containers, the glass boxes, like on shelves, covered, protected, locked. Everything shall be safe in that sense. Everything will be out of reach from the general public and any other customer that might, be inside the store. So after
Great.
they get some help from the salesperson that's helping them, they would then go to the cash register or the station. Another employee shall be responsible for getting the products that the customer wants from the back room, because there's going to be a system for it. We already have a pre-contract agreement with Blaze, which is a point of sale company that has everything integrated with it. They shall do the inventory, they shall do like the cash, they should do even online sales, everything that a business might need. They are willing and ready to provide it. They are integrated, they are accepted by the OCM and other dispensaries all around the US. So we would have a specialized employee in the back room that would be responsible in taking out whatever product that this customer would like, bring them up, help them pay, accept payments, and wish them well, and send them out with a smile and a better experience.
Great, thank you. I'm gonna now open it up to the task force. Any questions? Go ahead, Rodney.
So keeping with on the subject of security, I had a chance to look at what you sent over. I didn't see anything regarding checking IDs, as you know, that's a major component for the Office of Cannabis.
Yes, I understand. I understand that it might have not been mentioned in the security plan itself. However, I also have an employee manual. I sadly do not have it on me right now, but we are 100% behind the OCM rules. We would adhere and follow the OCM rules. And one of the main rules that the IDs should be checked, the IDs shall be checked. And part of the POS system that we have, they are gonna provide us with an ID checking system, basically to check the authenticity and check that this ID is okay and valid. So this is part of the package that we have from the agreement that we have with the point of sale system to check IDs. We would check IDs twice. First time on the main door to let them into the premises. While they are waiting inside the waiting room, we would have our own, because Blaze does operate a lot of dispensaries all over the US. So if in case this person is banned or is not allowed or has any notes against them, that checking system, the checking ID, the second one, would tell us that this person is and might not be welcome here or is very welcome, and they can easily get in and nothing's going to be there's no issue about it. So yes, I understand your concern. We will have two ID checking systems, not just one. And when it comes to the OCM rules, we will adhere to all of them, every single one. When it comes to checking IDs, when it comes to even the amount that we are allowed to sell, the people that we are allowed to sell, the lighting, the security cameras, even the ventilation system. We will even take a step further with the ventilation system, because I understood that part of the community members had an issue with the kids, the children, the minors, the smell, it being a busy street. Then the ventilation system that the business intends to have is an industrial grade ventilation system that one of the main points shall be at the main entrance at the waiting area, inside the inventory room, the back room, and inside the floor, to ensure that no odors, no smells, no smoke shall ever leave the premises. The ventilation system shall be turned on even after working hours, even after the business is closed. It's not open right now. The ventilation will stay on. It shall be maintained every 6 months. And yes, so that comes with the security.
Rodney, do you have another question?
No.
Alan? And then Rod.
Thank you for your presentation, sir. I understand you're representing Mrs. Abley in this presentation.
Yes, sir.
Are you involved with the business? who is actually going to be running the business on site?
Yes, so as you might know, the Mrs. Abli is a mother of five, and the applicant's intended use of the dispensary is to provide a friendly, safe, and welcoming environment to marijuana users, such as veterans, patients, and self-aware recreational users. So the applicant herself shall not be managing day-to-day, as you might know, because she is a mother of five. However, she will oversee the entire operation. She will oversee everything that goes on within the business. She has an attorney that is specialized in cannabis law, already prepared and set to help her with this. We shall employ two other people to manage the day-to-day affairs of the business. One person shall manage. Okay, 1 second. One person shall manage the day-to-day given. Okay, one person shall manage the employees, the main floor, and the customer experience. The second person shall be responsible for the back room, inventory, infrastructure, and even part of their job description is going to be a community liaison to ensure that this business intends to be a part of the community. It does not want to be just a business that's alienated from the community. It does not want to be just a dispensary on the street. No, we want to be a part of the community. So therefore, Miss Al-Abli is not going to be present for the day-to-day operations. She will oversee everything, all the operations, and the day-to-day management shall be divided into two people with experiences. One that will manage the employees, the finances, the customer experience, and the other person shall manage everything else when it comes to infrastructure, when it comes to the back room, following the OCM rules, when it comes to maintenance, everything else. So
I could just follow up, because your application doesn't have an attorney on it.
I understand, and they still have not hired anyone yet, because as you might know, the retainer is going to be expensive for someone that still does not have a license or anything yet. However, we did have a conversation with an attorney, and we are on an understanding that if hopefully this dispensary license is accepted, they shall jump on board and help us make sure that everything is squeaky clean and nothing is wrong, everything is up to date. And even if there's something we can improve on, we will improve on, even if we exceed the requirement of the OCM. So we already have this conversation. We already have everything set. However, we do not have an attorney on retainer because it's very expensive to have one, especially when the license is something that's not it's not sure.
So just a point of clarification, from OCM's mapping, it does show that your location has proximity protection. Can you confirm that that is the case?
Okay, so to my understanding, on the application, to my understanding, the closest school is gonna be like 400, 500 feet away, which.
No, I'm sorry. It may not be something that you're aware of. Essentially, OCM has provided certain locations with the opportunity to open up if. Sorry, what's the stipulation? Sorry, point of clarification here, because I know we just got that map.
Yeah, so our understanding was your application was given proximity protection from OCM. Are you aware of that?
Actually can you tell me more about the proximity protection, because I'm not.
We can do that.
We're on the
Yeah,
same
we'll do
page.
it offline.
You weren't sure if you were aware. Okay, thank you.
So just for the task force information, we had been under the impression that this was one of these protected locations that would give preference in opening. So we don't have clarification on that.
Well, we do have a lease ready. So to my understanding, that's like so the OCM prefers places that already have leases or already have agreements in place that they have a location, right? Am I correct? We do have a lease, as I already sent it. They do
Yes.
have a particular lease about this premises in particular. However, again, the applicant, they have control over this place. They have the fully executed lease. I have already sent an email with the executed lease attached. And yeah, so in that sense, yes, they do have this protection, or they are
No,
preferred.
actually, just not to confuse things, the proximity protection is something that's a little bit different, so we don't want to give out information if you don't have it. It's something that you can clarify with the applicant, and we can clarify with OCM offline. But that may be something as a consideration. Sorry, Raul.
I want to follow up to one of Alan's questions, and then I have a set of my own questions. Shaker, I'm not clear what your role will be in the business. Are you going to be involved at all, either on a day-to-day operations or on a management basis in this business?
Well, up until this point, we have not discussed terms with the owner. I am on as an advisor for now because I do have a little bit of knowledge when it comes to, I guess, cannabis law. I do hope that I would be a part of the management team when it comes to managing the infrastructure, adhering to OCM rules, and even the company being a part of the community liaison. However, the terms are not set because, as I said, the applicant and her family are not in the country. I wasn't able to like discuss terms and everything. If you guys like me enough, I will use this as a jumping point to have. So I'll take that as a good testimony.
Clarification. This is my other set of questions. I always get concerned when I see a business that is running a different business right now. You guys are a convenience store.
Mhm.
You have, according to the documents you uploaded, I believe you have a lease with a property since 2021,
Mhm.
and you're thinking of converting to a cannabis dispensary.
Mhm.
That always concerns me because the way you guys do business now is gonna be very different the way you're gonna have to do business going forward. For example, according to the lease that you uploaded, you're gonna be paying over 100,000 in annual lease payments for the next 6 or 7 years.
Mhm.
Do you know, or does the owner know, that none of that is tax deductible as a cannabis business?
So
In addition, you in your application, you say that you're gonna hire 6 full-time people and 4 part-time persons.
Mhm.
I don't know if those are your current employees or they're gonna be future employees, but do you know that none of those salaries will be tax deductible?
well,
They are currently as a convenience store, but they will not be as a cannabis dispensary.
okay. So first of all, I appreciate your question. It's actually a very prominent issue with cannabis in the cannabis industry, because the federal government, yes, as you said, does not allow business expenses for cannabis related businesses. However, the Farm Bill, which is responsible for I guess the federal bill about like cannabis, marijuana, and even when it comes to what do you call it? What's okay, a hemp. So hopefully the Farm Bill shall address this. We do understand that it's not deductible. However, at the same time, we do understand that this location is a prime location. It's a very good neighborhood, and being one of the first dispensaries that would open in this location in New York City, at the end of the day, if everyone, because the income or the revenue that they might get shall suffice to pay for everyone's salaries, wages, and everything, shall pay for the landlord. And we would just, manage finances very carefully, as we would hire someone that's specialized with it, up until the point where the government does meet and does amend the Farm Bill. Because as you know, cannabis is becoming legalized all over the US. Sooner rather than later, it's going to become legal or everywhere. And once that does, I do believe that the IRS shall change their stance over the deductions of like the cannabis businesses being deducted, like the expenses shall be deductible or not. That's one. Two, yes, it is different having a convenience store and changing it into a dispensary. It is different. running a dispensary is much harder, therefore it needs more employees. That's why they intend to employ 10 people in total, because the convenience store does not need 10 people to employ, realistically speaking. It needs basically 5 good workers and you're good to go, you're set, everything's good, everything's good. However, a dispensary, you need people with experience, people with specialized skills, specialized knowledge about the cannabis industry, about the ins and outs of the business itself. Therefore, that's why we aim to employ more people. We aim to employ 2 managers. That's why we aim to do all of this, because we understand how different it is than running a convenience store. Convenience store, you don't see 2 managers, you don't see someone that oversees it, you don't see a specific accountant for them, you wouldn't see an attorney that's going to be on retainer. No, we understand the gravity of this, the I guess the grave difference between both businesses, and we are treating it as such. We are like approaching it with this attitude that this is different, but we are very well set for it.
Great, thank you. Yeah, Sanford, anything to you? Well, okay. We're gonna go to the public. We have a few hands that are raised already. Jesse is bringing you over. And if there's anyone else from the public that would like to speak, just raise your virtual hand, please. I don't think we have them on the phone, do you?
No.
Great. Jesse is bringing some folks over. Please give us a moment.
Start on the gal.
Okay, David, we've been able to bring you over first, so please, go ahead. Miguel will get to you right afterwards, Miguel.
Yes, hello. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Hi, so my name's David Slost. I'm on the board for the 300 West 18th and 19th Streets Block Association. I personally live about 25, 30 feet away from the location that's under discussion here. I guess I have a couple of questions from Shakar that I know our board and other residents in our area are going to be interested in hearing his answer to. We have several schools on the block. We have the Bayard Rustin School Complex. Again, just a couple doors down, there's literally several high schools situated in that school complex. Right across from the premises that we're talking about, we have a very, very large NYCHA building population with the Fulton houses there that house, many families, many children. We've got playgrounds, at least two playgrounds within spitting distance of the premises. So I guess part of my question to Shakar is, he seems to be suggesting that from the outside, the dispensary won't be advertising itself or advertising product or having any signage or anything that's sort of identifying itself.
Yes, sir.
Is that so? All right, so that's the case, is it? It's going to be like, what is the outside of the space actually going to look like?
Okay, first of all, thank you for the concern. It is something that I did want to address. So the business does not intend to make itself obvious and known in a loud manner. They want to advertise through, specialized platforms such as Leafly or applications or websites that only allow access to people over the age of 21 and over. And we would we will advertise through our partners, the people that we already have agreements with, or the cultivators that we might have agreements with, because we do not plan on being obscure. We do not plan on being loud or look at us, we're here. No, we understand that this is a residential area and we are committed in being integrated into the community. Therefore, there's the signage, the dispensary itself shall not have advertisements that would, I guess, provide access or provide, temptation to anyone, especially minors, when as they're passing around. That's why we also want to install the industrial grade ventilation system. The glass shall be a privacy glass. People cannot see in. The logo, the name, the design shall be as the design and logo shall be as if it's a business. We treat it as a business. We do not want to treat it as something that will attract people, or that we need this, we need that. No, we understand, and we have targeted audience, targeted clientele that we want. We want people that, if someone already had the knowledge enough to use the applications or the websites, that will direct them to legal dispensaries. And like, we want these people. We want people that want to integrate marijuana into their lives. We want veterans that will use marijuana to help them. We want older people, older generations, to accept, to be welcomed into this community. Our principal targeted audience is not younger generations, is not none of this. We understand that most, if not all, dispensaries in New York target younger generations and market themselves in a loud, very loud, very attention-seeking manner. No, we would like to be an obscure, very family-friendly, welcoming, quaint, private location that aims basically to provide marijuana or cannabis to people that already integrated this into their lives and and people that use it as part of their life. However, they do not make it their life.
So Shaker, sorry to interrupt, but just wondering, just to answer David's question, do you happen to have a design already in place, or does the owner have a design already in place? And could you describe that? And if not, it's okay to tell us that you don't have it.
Design for you mean the logo?
No, I mean for what, I think, David, if I'm understanding correctly, you're trying to get a sense of what will this store look like to people that may be passing by, or in just broadly in the community? Was that what you're trying to get to?
Yes, and also that, that there weren't going to be obvious signs in the windows advertising the product, or trying to catch the eye of people walking past, basically. Yeah.
So
Great. Well, Shaker has responded to that, as well as he did say earlier that they will be following OCM rules. Were you? I just, Shaker, just to follow up. Do you have a sense from the owner of a design for the outside besides the glass?
Okay, yes, ma'am. We do have a basic understanding of what we want. We want a very, slick name, a very basic name, something that's not very, eye-catchy, something that's just basic. The logo is not gonna have the marijuana leaf or anything like this. No, we intend to have the logo be something that's, obscure, something that does not attach to marijuana or cannabis itself. And that's it. The glass outside will only have the name, the logo. It's gonna be privacy glass, so we don't need to have like flyers, designs, or anything on it. We're gonna go simple, we're gonna go basic, we're gonna go clean, just the name, clean name, easy name, logo, and something that does not scream or yell marijuana or weed or cannabis.
Great. Thank you.
Okay. So that sounds great. If I may, just two very quick other points. With the ventilation system, which sounds nice, but it does sort of imply that there'll be some smoking on the premises, or lighting of
No, sir.
marijuana on the premises. Like, what are we anticipating there?
No, sir, that's not allowed actually to smoke indoors. That's
right,
not
right. So what's the ventilation system for?
It's just for the products itself, for the flowers, or like the cannabis, like flower itself. It smells sometimes, and we want to make sure that there's no smell that leaves the premises. We just want, because at the back room, we're gonna have quantities of marijuana and cannabis.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
we want to make sure that nothing leaks out, smell or anything. So it's not,
Okay.
it's not to protect ourselves from smoke, but it's rather to be preemptive when it comes to the smell or odor.
Right. Okay, fair enough. And just one other thing, being familiar with the business and the space as I am, it's really a very small space in there.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering where these 10 full-time employees are going to be situated, and how many of those employees are you expecting to be working during open hours inside the premises versus doing whatever it is other employees would be doing for the business?
Okay, so first of all, the 10 employees will not be working at the same time. Obviously, we'll have 3 different shifts for it. We would need someone to manage the back room, someone to manage the main floor, someone to manage, someone to be as security outside before people like for the first checkpoint, someone to manage the second checkpoint. So that's 4 people or 5 people at any time that shall be operating the business. Everyone shall have their own rules. Everyone has their own areas of expertise. Everyone shall manage their own separate thing. We understand that the place is small. However, that's why we have 1 person that shall be 1 person for each step. 1 person as a security guard outside, 1 person for the check-in area, 1 person for the main floor, 1 person for the back room, and 1 person for the cash register. So that's how we intend to do it. We intend to have light transactions, quick transactions. When the design that we have in mind for the dispensary, it's not a design that allows people or lets people sit there, spend a lot of time, because as you kindly stated, that the space is not the biggest space of all. So our aim is to design the dispensary in a way where the customer walks in, they get greeted after they get through both checking points. They get greeted, they pick what they want, they can see everything's under the glass displayed. They pick what they want, they walk till the end of the place, they pay and leave. It's gonna be very simple, 1 line. We do not intend to have groups of people at the same time within the premises. And also, as per OCM rules, we will not allow people to gather around outside the premises. So just to make that clear, we will make this as smooth as possible. We would only allow a certain number of people. It depends on the final design of the dispensary. We will only allow a certain number of people to enter, do the transactions, and leave. No one shall be allowed to wait outside. No one shall be allowed to gather inside, outside, anywhere.
Great, thank you. David, did that answer your questions?
Yes, it did, and I thank Shakar for all that information, and I'll happily report that back to our board and our members. I just want to make one very quick comment. With being used to these things and other community board for situations with liquor licensing and stuff. It's like the what's explained in these meetings by potential proprietors always sounds amazing, right? It always sounds like if any of that is actually transpires and turns out to be true, then it sounds like this will be a great place for the neighborhood, and we would welcome it in the community. That's not always what happens, and our block, if you talk to the 10th precinct down here, you'll find out very quickly there's a lot of activity on our block and in the immediate area that is difficult for them to manage and control already. And as residents in the area, we don't need anything else to pile on top of what we're already dealing with from that point of view. So, if everything that you say is true, then I think we wish you guys luck in the neighborhood and hope that it works out for you. If it turns out that we end up with a situation where we've got more issues and more 311 calls and more 911 calls to make as a result of you guys being there, it's going to be a shame.
This is very valid, and thank you.
Shaker, there's no reason to respond, but David, thank you very much for providing that perspective of your block. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Miguel?
Thank you.
Add one remark, please, just to maybe settle that part.
Shaker, he just was giving a comment. He wasn't directing it to you specifically. He was just making a comment.
Okay, sure thing.
Miguel?
Hi. Good evening. Sorry that I'm late. So I actually didn't hear his introduction, so I have 1 or 2 questions for him directly. Is this business owner the same business owner that's there now?
Shaker, that question was for you. Is this the same business owner that is at the location currently?
Well, I actually don't fully know. I know I was approached by Miss Wafa, and that's what I know. I'm representing her currently. I'm not representing the
Is she
convenience store.
currently operating a convenience store? Is she operating a convenience store at this location?
She is not
Okay.
she's not operating it herself, no.
So she has
Thank
nothing
you.
to do with that business that there's now, because the business that there's now, there's been NYPD summonses given to that business from the beginning.
Mhm.
And the summonses that they received, to my understanding, is for selling illegal drugs, illegal cigarettes, illegal alcohol to minors.
Mhm.
And this continues to go on. And as you heard from the previous speaker, the schools are around the corner, and those are the ones that been stuff sold to. So that I'm not going to support on that in the beginning. And then I have Fulton houses where I have many youngsters living there that gonna pass by this every single day. And I'm fearful of them getting opportunities to get access to this, even if you're telling us that 21-year-olds are the only one going to be going in, any 21 and over, but it's still just like alcohol. If there's an opportunity for somebody to buy it for somebody else, then it's going to end up back on the premises of Fulton houses. So I can't see, and I respect everything you've been saying, but I can't see any way how that I can support a business so close to Fulton houses when it comes to the cannabis industry. I supported one last month that was half a block away, but they seemed so sincere on how they're running their business in the East Village. I went and visited, and I was glad that I supported it because they seem very professional. The business that is there now, if they have anything to do with the business that's coming in the future that you're proposing, there's no way, no how that I can support it. I apologize for feeling this way, but I need to protect the children that live in Fulton houses and the kids that go into the local high schools around the corner.
Okay.
Thank you, Miguel. Yeah.
First of all,
So,
thank you for your
Andrew,
concern.
Shaker, we're just getting the comments. It's okay. There wasn't a direct question there. Andrew, I don't know if you realized that we went to item number 2, which is Chelsea Convenience, and you're welcome to speak on it as well. Nice to see you.
Hi, I just wanted to ask a question to the board, if that's okay. If it's not appropriate, by all means, I can talk to somebody offline. It's pretty quick. One is the proximity exception. So it was my understanding you couldn't have one weed store within a certain amount of feet of another weed store or school. So I assume that's the proximity clause. Is there areas where that's not applicable and basically you can have multiple establishments closer together? And I had one other super quick question, if you can answer that.
No, I'm happy to explain it to you offline, Andrew. It's a little complicated. We're meshing a couple different things together. Proximity protection is what OCM, Office of Cannabis Management, gives an applicant to say that the Cannabis Management Office will not consider any other applications within 1,000 feet of that applicant. So this applicant has pending proximity protection. No, it's on the white. Yeah, it's pending. So therefore, what that means, right. So the other things about the schools and the churches, houses of worship, are different measurements. They're 200 feet and 500 feet, similar to like what SLA had, but it's two separate things.
Okay, my other really quick question is, who is in charge of enforcement of if somebody violates that? Is it the police or somebody else? And that's all I really had. Thanks.
Yeah, it's the sheriff's office, but we can talk about that in subsequent discussion.
I remember.
Yeah, I know.
So
Hector, we think your hand was up. Are you here? Hi, Hector.
Hi, everybody. How you doing? Yeah, thank you. As speaking as a resident of Fulton houses, I was aware that.
Hector, before you start, can you just also identify your other association with us?
Oh yeah, I'm on community board 4, but I am not speaking on behalf of Community Board 4. I'm speaking as a resident of of Fulton Houses. Yeah, basically, I expressed the same concerns that Miguel had mentioned earlier, that the business that's been there for several years now, there have been major issues with high school kids going in there and purchasing things they shouldn't be allowed to. And there was no enforcement then. There's barely any people. There's maybe a guy behind the register, pretty much. So my concern is, if it's the same people, which I suspect it is because it is the same name, we will have a huge problem on our hands here because there was no enforcement before. So I really doubt that there will be any kind of enforcement in the future because no one's going to be going around there to inspect them. So honestly, we're going to be watching very closely if this gets approved. I cannot support it at this point, but if it does, we're community leaders here. There's a bunch of us, and we will be keeping an eye on the business because honestly, we're kind of tired of places that are illegal or legal selling to minors and causing all sorts of issues in the community. So I hope they're sincere and they do want to be good neighbors because honestly, they have not approached us. I'm also part of the board of Fulton Houses here as well, and we have heard nothing from these folks approaching us on how they want to be good neighbors in the community. So that says a lot in volumes to us. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Hector. And Shaker, just let you know, we're going to now engage in business of the board. We're going to have a discussion, so we're not going to need for you to respond, but you are obviously welcome to be listening to the rest of the conversation. So I know a few other hands were up. Lowell, and just to clarify, Lowell is a member of Community Board 4, and at this time is not yet on the task force, but is still participating as a Community Board member. Correct?
Correct. I think. I never called you.
I know.
Just
Just for voting.
I have, if I were in a voting position on this tonight, I don't know, based upon what Hector and Miguel were saying, I don't know that I could support this without actually having the applicant themselves in front of me. And no offense to their representative tonight, he presented what he understood, but given the concerns that have been raised in the community, if I were a voting member of this, I would have to vote against it without having the applicant themselves here. I would either ask that this be put over and the applicant come back or, just denied, but that's my 2 cents on it.
Thank you. Sanford.
Yeah, I would share that assessment. I don't really have a problem with this location, but yeah, we would need to see some evidence to indicate conclusively that this is not the same operator who has caused issues in the past, which I think it's like alcohol to minors really does seem like surely not a promising sign for not selling cannabis to minors.
Thank you. Rodney?
So, yes, and to Miguel's question and Hector's concern on the application, she does identify herself as the owner.
Okay, so that's interesting. I would like to have Jesse just give a point of clarification, as they had postponed last month, and explain how this proximity protection creates an issue for what I'm hearing is a very valid recommendation to postpone. But Jesse, if you're able to just give the task force some of that information.
Sure, so I mean, this applicant had come to us, if you look at the 30-day notice, it was sent to us in January. We asked for a 30-day extension, as we always do. So that gave us some flexibility. They were supposed to be on the agenda last month. They asked to postpone to mid-March. They're away for Ramadan. Everybody knows what Ramadan is. So, I don't know what to say. I mean, we agreed to postpone for them to come to this month, and they're away this month. So I don't know what to say about that. The proximity protection was a newer information. So OCM has released a map, an online map, in which you can now see all of the locations that they have approved and that are also called the pending proximity, given proximity protection and then therefore pending approval. This location is shown on their map as having pending approval and having proximity protection. My concern is there is no, our 60-day window of review is up in this month. And the fact is OCM obviously has put these folks in a very prioritized spot. And so I don't know if they can agree to come back, obviously, but between now and the 30 days so when we meet again, if OCM reviews them and approves them, that's it. I mean, that we don't have any other, so and unfortunately, I don't know what else to base our.
In light of that information, just wanting to get a sense here from the task force of if there is an opinion on the location and this applicant, because if we do have one, then instead of asking to postpone, it makes sense for us to give that opinion. So, Alan?
Yeah, I think it's a problem, sorry. I think it's a problem location, just to follow up with Rodney. I mean, she just signed the lease, so obviously she is the owner of this business. I'm disappointed. I'm sorry that, the circumstances were that she didn't show up last month and this month. The application did come a little fuller this time around than it did last time, but not to have an attorney on board, not to have a consultant on board. We don't know what Mr. Shakur position is in terms of the whole thing, who's running it, what are their credentials. I don't think it's necessary to ask for a postponement, yes, to come back at this point.
Raul?
I would like to make a motion
Please.
to deny this application.
Second.
Okay, so the motion is to deny the application, and all those in favor? Anyone opposed? Present not eligible? And thanks for sharing. So we have not approved this location, and that was unanimous. So Shekhar, thank you for joining. We did vote not to approve the location. And I think you're still with us, but you can relay that information back to your cousin. Oh, there you are. Thank you for joining.
Sure thing. May I just say one thing before everything, before I'm done? So I understand you guys have concerns with the previous owners and everything. However, we are talking about a completely different ball game. This is a highly regulated industry. This is heavily policed. It's very the rules that apply to it are very, very, very strict, as you may know. So when it comes to the management of the older location, that all is going to be scrapped. That's why we said there's going to be 2 different managers for this. This is going to be a completely different thing. And we do realize that this is a completely different ball game, and we are treating it as such. There are many rules and regulations with this. So it's going to be very different. I understand that they already asked for postponement, and thank you guys for giving this.
So I appreciate that you're providing again that information and that there is an understanding that it's different. I think what you were hearing from the community that came here this evening, they're concerned about this particular location and a precedent that's already been set by the operator there now, which is cast doubt on any operator there. But we do appreciate you coming this evening. Thank you very much. And we're now going to move on to our next applicant. So we're going to go. Yeah, so we're going to go back to item number 1 on the agenda, 807 9th Avenue between 53rd and 54th, Bar 9 Entertainment Corp. If you're here from Bar 9, if you can please raise your virtual hand, we'll bring you over. I see Stephen, I see Robert, and we're bringing you over.
Hello,
Hello,
how you doing?
we're doing great. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm doing wonderful. I was just listening to that wonderful presentation and questions from the community and the task force.
Well, great. And I think you have someone else that's coming over as well. Robert, is Robert with you?
I
Robert,
do.
you need to, yeah, Robert, you need to accept when I ask you to become a panelist.
There should be one other gentleman here. His name is Tanka. He's our OCM consultant.
Okay. Great. We see him and we're gonna bring him over.
The Three Musketeers.
That tank.
Okay, we have Tank already. We're waiting for Robert to come over, but Stephen, if you are ready to kick off, you can explain what you're trying to do. Welcome.
Sure. So thank you very much for inviting us to join this task force meeting and explain this this business concept that we are trying to have at 807 9th Avenue. My name is Stephen Paternack. I have owned and operated Bar 9 since November of 2014. We stayed open during the pandemic. I kept most of my employees on payroll at a minimum wage just to be able to not have to add more numbers to the unemployment rate. In the past 9 years, we haven't had any issues with the liquor authority, with the exception of one time they caught my cook blowing his nose and he didn't have a mask on. Beyond that, we've always been very respectful of the community. We've done our best to be good neighbors. Our lease is coming due in November, and we had the idea to open a cannabis dispensary and close down the existing business there, which is Bar 9. For those of you who are not familiar with Bar 9, we are a dueling piano bar. It is a interactive live music show. We actually originated the concept on 46th and 7th about 20 years ago in New York City. My brother did that actually. And then they ended up closing that location. We opened up in Bar 9. I've been owner and operator myself in Bar 9 since 2014. What we're looking to do here is essentially take the existing relationship that I have with the community and hopefully with the task force and the community's blessing, be able to have the opportunity to open up a legal cannabis dispensary in place of the existing bar. We do understand that another business has proximity on 862, I believe, 9th Avenue. We've been to numerous meetings. I guess this is now our third meeting because the first one we were on with the local block association with Steve Bodine. I also listened to a recording of the first meeting with the gentleman from 862, and now this is the third meeting that second that I'm a part of, third that I've listened to. We do understand he has proximity. We are hoping not necessarily to try and open up instead of him, but maybe if something happens to his business, we hope that we have a good enough relationship with the community that if for some reason maybe his funding doesn't come through or something happens, that the task force would grant us a blessing for this location. Now, if this location doesn't work, again, the reason why we're here is just to say, hey, look, this is what we're looking to do. This is our team. And if we could find another location in the area, we truly do believe in the legal cannabis business, and we think that we'd be a valuable addition to the community. And that's my spiel.
Okay, any of the other members of your team have something to add to the spiel? Or you're good?
I think we're good. Tanka is here. He is our OCM specialist. So he's able to answer any technical questions. Just to give you a bit about Tanka very quickly, I'm sorry. He's opened over 70 dispensaries in the past 9 years, 2 major multi-state operators named Curaleaf and Verana in the medical and recreational markets. And he's also recently helped open a location on the Lower East Side. Robert is actually a card holder in the Bronx, and he's the reason why we're able to put this application in. His mother is my godmother, and I've known her my entire life. So that's kind of how the team came together. And I don't think they want to speak, but they're here to answer any questions, and we're an open book.
Great, I'm gonna open it up to the task force. Any questions in the room? Alan?
You're gonna keep the pianos?
No, unfortunately not. If for some reason we were able to open this location, I'd probably take the pianos to a different area. Truth be told, the business is after the pandemic, the business is not the same. And it's very hard to operate such a location with the pianos only. So I would look to downsize and put them in a different location.
Thank you.
Raul?
So Steve, is your intention then to close bar 9 if, once your lease is up, it expires, sometime end of this year?
My lease expires November 1st. If I am not able to open a legal cannabis dispensary there, I will probably be extending my lease if I could work out a favorable renewal with my landlord. The fact of the matter is, I do enjoy the community. I like the community. I like being a part of it, and I think I've built some good relationships there. So I wouldn't necessarily want to close down completely. I would just hope to renew a favorable rate with my existing landlord.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you the same questions that I asked the other applicant regarding converting a business, a normal business that's able to run a business under normal accounting rules to cannabis accounting rules. As a bar, you're able to deduct your lease. I think you're paying $35,000 a month. Right now, you have something like 4 to 6 employees, all their salaries are deductible. Are you aware that you will not be able to deduct any business expenses in this new business? And therefore, your effective tax rate is gonna go from whatever it is now to somewhere around 70 or 80%. And a lot of it's gonna go to the IRS.
So those are all great questions. The one thing I will just state is that my rent is not $35,000 a month right now. I'm not sure where you got that number from. My
The lease that you upgraded with your application.
I didn't put a lease in my I don't think I put a lease in my application.
Okay.
It shouldn't say, does it say $35,000 a month? Because I'm currently paying $23,000 a month. And maybe, let me rephrase, maybe my rent is $35,000 a month, but the reason I'm not paying is because during the pandemic, me and my landlord negotiated. And currently I'm paying $23,692 a month. I was able to acquire a grant which allowed me to pay my landlord off, and we worked out an agreement, which is why I was stating earlier that if I don't open the dispensary, I'm hoping to be able to negotiate with my landlord. In reference to your questions about the tax basis being increased and about not being able to deduct my salaries, I have a very, very experienced CPA that would help me guide through those sort of details. We do have backing and we do have funding to be able to open and be able to sustain with understanding the first couple of years, we're probably going to be in the red as any business is. I know you probably can't tell, but I'm 42 years old. I've been doing business, my first bar that I ever opened, I was 21 years old. So I've been able to navigate liquor authorities. I've been able to navigate, I'm a licensed real estate broker. I've been able to navigate the Department of State. I don't think that being able to navigate the OCM is going to be much different. I'm a guy who thinks quick. I don't get into situations that I think I'm going to be over my head. And I really feel confident that if given this opportunity, I'd be able to be successful like I've been in many other areas of my life.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Also, I'm sorry to interrupt, guys. This is Tinker here. I also want to let you guys know, there are different tax strategies that does allow us to write off certain things, again, for cost of goods. So potentially, again, as we set up Steve's store, if we're able to, the way we can, if we're able to utilize or have the employees label certain product, we are able to write off about 20%, 30% of their salary. So there are ways of proving cost of good, even at the dispensary level, that we can utilize to kind of, be able to safeguard us from that tax burden. So that's just want to put that in there. Again, with 280E, there are some strategies we can utilize to be able to write off certain things.
Tanka, thank you for that clarification. I think really the spirit of Raul's question is understanding if any applicants recognize that this is not the same as the type of business you may be operating, and clearly you've demonstrated you understand that, so thank you. Rodney?
No problem at all.
Do you have a lottery number?
I'm gonna have to defer that question to Robert, because he is the card holder that's in the Bronx. Robbie, can you answer that question?
How you doing? Yeah, we have we're in the queue. So we're number 3,000. So we're still far up. We're not anywhere close.
Okay. Also, I noticed on the application was left blank, ADA compliant regarding the interest. I imagine that you are. It was just probably accidentally left blank.
Can you
repeat
question
regarding ADA compliant?
So
the entrance.
Yeah, so currently our entrance is wide enough, I believe, for to be ADA compliant, but we would be doing a complete structural overhaul of the location. Part of that, I uploaded a floor plan there, and anybody who's actually been in the bar can see that what we're gonna do basically is we've created a waiting room and we're gonna put a brand new storefront in there. So that will help us get even more ADA compliant if we're not currently. So I don't want to say we are 100% right now, because I don't have that answer, and I wouldn't want to say anything that's a flat out, not truth. So we will. If we're not, we will.
Great. Also, can you talk about your outreach to the community regarding your thoughts that you're hoping to change the business?
Sure. So as requested by Jesse, I'm not sure who Jesse is here. Hey, Jesse. So, hey, Jesse. So, as per Jesse, what I did was he sent me a list of all of the neighborhood block associations, which I BCC'd every single one of them. The only one that actually took me up on my offer was Steve Bodine, and we joined his meeting. I also, when we were first supposed to be on this call in February, I put up all of the notifications on the 4 corners around my area and in my window. We took them down because Steve Bodine requested that we meet with him. I did again put those same signs up a couple days ago, informing, I guess, the immediate area, and I hope that would suffice for the community outreach.
And above the bar are those apartments above the bar?
There are apartments above the bar. Yes, we have a pretty good relationship with the neighbors. They have my manager's cell phone number, from what I understand, and he tells me that if there's ever any issues, they give him a call and he's able to work through it with them.
Yeah, as for point of clarity, and I think it's in the drop boxes that Steve Bolita did write an email saying that they did meet and supporting this application.
Anyone else in the room? Okay, we'll go to people who have their hand raised. If you wanted to speak on this application, you can raise your virtual hand. We have Andrew already over. Andrew?
Hi, I'm part of the block association that Steve Bolita runs, and that Steve P came and spoke to last month.
Hey, Andrew, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, how you doing, Steve?
Well,
so I'm okay. So I support Steve's proposal to become a cannabis dispensary. I think it will help some of the issues that we've had in the past with the establishment. Since our meeting about a month ago, basically Bar 9 has been doing what they agreed to back in 2016, which I really appreciate mostly. I will say this now that Steve said it about the facade, that when they got their liquor license in 2015, they put in a new facade and all that stuff. I appreciate during the pandemic that he kept his workers going and stuff, but he also basically cut out the windows of the building to have live music. He put a stage in the street, which was not conducive to the steps, the lifestyle, or being able to work in the morning for the residents. We had July 4th block parties. I believe Jesse had to have the Department of Transportation tow the stage away. So I'm in favor of it, right? I'm very happy that Steve basically was, I'm trying to work with him now, right? So I'm really appreciative of the past month, and I hope it continues like that. But I think having a more regulated business there would actually be more beneficial to the residents compared to the past. So I support Steve in his request.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you, Andrew. Appreciate that.
Anybody else from the public? Okay, seeing no hands raised, Steve, Robert, Tanko, we're gonna discuss amongst the task members right now, and stay tuned.
Thank you.
Stanford, I called you Stanford, Sanford.
I think this is a good application, definitely meets the boxes we'd like to see, applicant who appears to have a good knowledge of the industry. And it's like a check sort of boxes around security plan, having plans for like various different things. I also through the Dropbox, there's quite a bit more material. And then I think just in terms of the location, like this is a block of 9th Ave that is like full of bars and restaurants a day. This will be one of the quietest businesses on the block. I will be sad to see the old Bar 9 go. I did like the dual cannabis concept. But I think as an application, it makes a lot of sense.
Thank you. Alan?
The proposed operator exudes confidence and expertise, and I would certainly go for him.
Okay, so am I hearing a motion?
Motion to accept.
Second.
What?
Well, before we vote, any opinions on the 2 a.m. closing? Is that what have we voted before? I don't even remember what.
We probably try to move them back in. Yeah, 2 a.m. is probably the latest, and they went to the extreme in their hours,
Yeah.
like a 6 to 2 o'clock, something.
Wait, I'm
It's
sorry, I'm confused, maybe I'm missing something. When did we talk about a 2 a.m. closing?
It's on that.
It's on the application.
That's what their current hours.
We would not stay open till 2 a.m. as a dispensary.
They're not allowed to. Think 10 p.m.
Yeah.
10 p.m. is the.
Tank, can Tank confirm the hours that you guys would be proposing? I mean, OCM has pretty regulated hours on this, right, Tank?
I think.
Yeah, Tank, are you there?
Yeah, and you talking about terms of hours of operation?
Yeah, what's the latest to stay open till?
We are allowed to stay open to 2 a.m. But again, most dispensaries, the latest they close generally about 11. I know a few. The one again we have on Friday and Saturday at the LES location, we open until 12 midnight. So generally, we can stay open to 2 a.m. But generally, most dispensaries close about 10, 11, or 12 the latest.
So, if I could make a friendly amendment to your motion to bring in those closing hours to 10, 11?
12.
Yeah, let's say based on the block, which like that block is entirely fine, so the noise level will not be primary. Like they will not be the primary source.
This is not a consumption lounge.
Of noise on that block, so I think 12 is reasonable.
I mean, just giving my opinion on this, considering that this is not a bar, and considering also the commentary from the public that they do believe that this actually alleviates some of the bar issues that they had. I don't know that there's any concern at all with the dispensary that may be regulated and operating to its full hours that it can to also hopefully make it a more viable business. So my opinion is not reining it in, but again, we can have it for discussion.
Can I ask, Steve, is there a set of hours you were about to mention that thing that you were thinking about?
I would not stay open till 2 a.m. I can guarantee that. I would say the latest. And again, this is kind of putting the cart before the horse, and I don't want you to think that we're not prepared because we have thought about it. I would say the latest, if we were able to be granted a license, would probably be maybe like 10 o'clock on weekdays, and the latest maybe 11 o'clock, 12. I would revisit it with you guys, to be honest. Like if there was opposition to it, I have no problem coming back here and having a conversation with some level heads. So I would be staying up until 2 a.m.
So if we're comfortable with it, I have a motion, I have a second. We were discussing this. If we say that coming back to the board to confirm hours, but no later than midnight on any given day. Is that what I'm hearing that we're comfortable with?
10 on weekdays and 11 p.m. on weekends.
Again, I think it's being a little prescriptive, mainly because they don't even know the operation. I'm only just giving the flexibility, but again, that's.
Yeah, I would be in support of offering the flexibility until we've, like, given the circumstances, let's offer the flexibility and then they can at least notify us if they're planning to, but they at least give us notification they're gonna go later than the more prescriptive, which was 10 on weekdays and 11 on weekends. they're gonna go later than that, just at least give us notification.
I'll just give you guys a quick example, and I don't want to take up too much time, is when I went for my liquor license, I tried for 4 a.m. They said, you can't get a 4 a.m., you have to do 2 a.m. I agreed to 2 a.m. and I've held by it for the past 9.5 years. I want to work with you guys. I'm not looking to be combative. I want to operate a business there that you guys are happy to have in your community. So I'll come back and we'll have a discussion. I don't really have a straight answer, but we wouldn't be open till 2 a.m., that's for sure.
It would be great, whatever happens, if whatever is agreed to, that's what actually transpires in the end. That would be awesome.
Thank you, Andrew. Okay, so we have a motion, a second. Just for clarification, I wanted to hear a consensus around the hours that we're discussing, because I didn't quite hear consensus.
I think we're gonna say, we're fine with 12, but they would like the applicant, I guess, stipulates, which you have to confirm you agree with stipulation, but stipulation is if they're gonna go later than 10 on weeknights or 11 on weekends. To come back.
Great, okay,
So 10 and 11.
great. All
Thumbs
those,
up and then.
all those in favor? Anyone opposed? Present not eligible? Okay, that one passes. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
We'll be sending it to our full board, the first of the month. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
See you on the block.
Thank you so much.
It's your block, it's my block.
Yeah.
Okay, so our third applicant is 725 8th Avenue, Urban Multi-Craft LLC between 45th and 46th Streets. If you are associated with that application, please raise your virtual hand and Jesse will bring you over.
Good evening.
Hi, Evan.
Hi.
Do you have anything else with you this evening on this? Ciro? Is it
He's the owner. I'm just the lawyer.
just the lawyer? No, you're the most expensive part. What are you talking about?
Not for him. No. I'll explain.
Coming over now.
Great.
Siri, with us?
You have to turn on your microphone and camera.
There we
Wonderful.
go.
Well,
Hello, everybody. Good evening.
good evening. All right. So gentlemen, you are up. Please talk to us about your proposed operation and location at 725 8th Avenue.
So I am the attorney for Urban Multi-Craft LLC. My name is Evan Greenberg. Good evening. The premises that's under consideration that we do have a signed lease for is 725 8th Avenue, which is on 8th Avenue between 45th and 46th Streets. It is a 3-story building and a basement. We have a lease for the entire building. We are not within 500, it's a little building comparatively to the rest of the avenue. We are not within 500 feet of any building exclusively being used as a school on the same street. We're not within 200 feet of a house of worship. We don't violate any of the proximity issues of other potential licensees on the OCM map. We've provided as submissions to CB4 the signed lease, a proposed budget, a proposed floor plan. I sent to Mr. Bodine the proof of the community outreach. We have emailed everybody on the list. We did not hear any responses other than one email that says I'm no longer with, a particular community board or a particular project board. We have posted up all the signs, the required signage, and we sent photographs. Presently, I believe the closest licensed cannabis retailer is greater than 2,000 feet away. Mr. Ciro Salcedo, who is the principal of Urban Multi-Craft, is born and raised a city resident in Jackson Heights, Queens. He's of Colombian descent. He has 2 grown children and is married. He's always resided in the city of New York. He has been employed in project management and construction for more than 30 years. He's taking his entire life savings and investing it into this business. I know there were questions regarding security to alight the the board members, when the business is closed, they'll be rolled down full metal gates. There'll be a full ADT business video security system. When open for retail sale, there will be a unarmed security guard at the door checking identifications during all regular business hours. If you looked at the budget that we uploaded, the annual security budget now is approximately $75,000 a year, but it is subject to change. We do have a queue number with the Office of Cannabis Management. It's 2,142, so we have some time. We're not desirous of hosting gatherings. This is purely a micro business and then retail sale. If the grow manner in which that this will be done is with lights, and it will be done hydroponically. It will not be done in any area where there is retail sales. So on the first floor, if we look at the floor plan we submitted, that's where we're going to sell. There's no plants anywhere near any possible consumer. The grow lights, and based upon the electric that is provided in the building, based upon the light amperage, we're either going to do it in the basement or on the second floor. What portion of the building is not used to grow, be it if we grow in the basement, on the second floor, it will be used to trim and dry all of the grown product. The application is interesting given the location, because it's on an avenue and it's in the heart of Times Square. We believe that it will be a very wonderful addition to that area of Manhattan. We think that if done correctly, and it's going to be a long time before we open, if we're blessed with an OCM license, and then we do the build out, and then after that there is an entire part of our business that we have to actually grow the product. When all of those things are actually in place, and it will be a number, I would imagine about 2 years before that happens, it's our hope that the governor would grant casinos the right to operate in either Times Square and Hudson Yards, where those applications are currently pending. It would make it a very exciting area of Manhattan. That being said, I can quote to the CB4 board if they want to hear the statistics about the positive associations between cannabis-related businesses and neighborhood home prices and the benefits to tax revenue. But I think you get the idea. If you have any questions for us, we'll be happy to answer them.
So thank you. I don't think that that's a focus. I think we're really more interested in the specific location, the operation, et cetera, not the philosophical part of the question. Any questions from the task force? Alan?
Just a clarification, the retail in the same building?
Yes, retail, you said retail would be on the first floor of the building, which is a 3-story building, and you would be growing product through lights, either in the basement or the second floor after assessing the electrical. Is that correct?
That is correct.
I was under the impression that the retail's supposed to be in a different location?
No, this is a micro. They can grow. This is a different type of license. So this is not a retail dispensary license. This is a micro business license.
The cultivation part is supposed to be separate from.
Oh, that is a cultivator license, which is, that is the, like the farmer's market sort of concept. I'm forgetting the technical name. This is where it is a license to grow and sell what you grow.
Okay. It's even more than that. You can not only grow it, you can process.
Yes.
You can distribute to other
Yeah,
dispensaries around and sell it in retail. I love this license. It's like vertically integrated. They can do the whole thing. So I love that you guys are applying for this business with that intent in mind. Now, what I would like to know is, are you guys going to be my understanding is that there are 2 tiers in the micro business license. One is a 5,000 up to 5,000 square feet of growing area, and another one 12,500 square feet of growing. Which of the 2 are you planning to do?
5,000 or less. I believe the square. Oh, I'm sorry. Please go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Mr. Salcedo.
Yeah, the limitations on the square footage would bring us to a 5,000 or less.
5,000 or less.
Any other questions?
Are you planning to sell to other dispensaries in the neighborhood or within Manhattan, or what's your plan in terms of distribution, since the license allows you to do that?
Initially, that's not the focus. Our focus is to restore that building. The building's been empty for years. It was empty before COVID, and then there were some plans. I think Wahlburgers wanted to be there, and then that did not materialize because of COVID. I'm involved in project management, construction, and property management. And the projects I've undertaken the last 30 years, I'd love to do restoration. And what I want to do there is do an apothecary type shop, early 1900s retro look. Everybody does modern, minimalist. I want to do something as an ode to old New York. I know there was a pharmacy, the Lascaux Pharmacy on 82nd and Lexington, that closed in 2012. Is now Warby Parker. It was there for 100 years. So that's the idea. That's what we want to do. We want to create an experience on the first floor, and it's all about product and quality control. So the idea for us to cultivate and grow is to know the source of our product and have good quality product. So we're not projecting in terms of distribution at the moment. It's getting that building off the ground.
And are you planning to give tours of your cultivation area to potential customers of the retail product, or is that going to be closed off completely?
No, that would be closed off completely.
We find it too much of a security risk. We don't want anybody to get any bad ideas.
Got it.
Thank you.
One more thing just to add, the building itself is at grade. It's completely ADA compliant, the entrance. If that.
So I'm curious, Sierra, what connection, if any, do you have to the Hell's Kitchen area? Do you have a connection already? Having noted the architecture that does permeate most of our community, red brick, just curious if you already have a connection to the community.
Yes, I've restored a building on 57th and 10th. We redid the facade there. So on 57th and 10th, not only did we do the facade, we also did the interior. And I do a lot of passive house building. So we bring in, we create a thermal envelope for every apartment. So we'll take buildings that are walk-ups that are 5-story. I focus mostly on smaller buildings, 4 to 10 stories. And these buildings are built in the 1800s. The bricks are there, the joists are there, they're great. And they just need some TLC inside. And that's what I've done in the Hell's Kitchen area and other areas of Manhattan, where we take out the boilers, the oil boilers. We bring in Mitsubishi heat pump energy efficient systems. We get windows that are triple glazed, much more efficient than what's required. And that what allows us to do is create apartments where your heating bill and your cooling bill is very, very low, and create while also restoring the buildings from 1890s, early 1900s. And you have these great buildings that we bring back. We just change out all the plumbing, all the electric. They sag after a little bit, and we restore. We support the joists that are there. So I've done that on 57th and 10th. I did that on 2 buildings, and that suffered through COVID. But when you build something the right way, it's now thriving stores that are doing very well.
Great, thank you for that. Any other questions from the task force? Just another question from me in terms of, we've had only one other applicant with this type of, seeking this type of license. And some of the questions that we were asking is about energy efficiency, pollution, from both the growing, and also any plans for beyond the stipulations and the OCM regulation around disposal of any byproduct, et cetera. So just wanted to hear a little bit about environmental, energy concerns as well as, waste management.
Yeah, I think energy concerns are very important, both on a basis from the environment and also from a business perspective. We rented the entire building, including the roof, because we want to have solar panels. We want to make use of the technology that's out there now. There's a lot of technology now that when I first started almost 30 years ago seemed cost prohibitive, didn't seem like it would work for construction. And that's changed over the years. And we've used a lot of the materials that are available now. We would come in and do all new electric. When we do a project, we do brand new electric, brand new plumbing, and it's just a lot more efficient than with what was there before. In terms of disposal, I've done a lot of projects. Look, running a project for the last 30 years, it's very important safety of your employees and a responsibility to the people around you. So I have a lot of experience with carting, asbestos removal, asbestos remediation, and we systematize and carry it out in an efficient manner. So we have a lot of experience with that, and we'll be able to translate that to that.
Yes, great, thank you. Anyone else from the task force? Do we have anyone from the public that wanted to speak or ask any questions of this particular applicant? Okay, seeing no hands raised, we're now going to discuss amongst the task force members. We're unusually quiet. Thoughts?
I was just thinking that you'd be a great presenter at the environmental committee.
There you go.
The kind of things we want to hear. On the application of the business, the micro business concept of it, where they can go vertical. The building is a great building for that. The location is good. I make a motion to approve this application.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Anyone opposed? Present not eligible? Okay, thank you, gentlemen. We will be making that recommendation to the full board.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. You said
Thank
that
you.
the full board meeting is on the 1st of the month?
It's the first Wednesday of the month, so this month it will be.
The third.
So it's April 3rd in the evening by Zoom, just like this, kind of?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Just for clarity's sake, that what the board will be doing is voting on the letter, not requiring you guys to come and be there for a presentation.
Oh, okay, fabulous. All right, thank you so much.
That's what's happening on April 3rd. You're more than welcome to attend, and if you want to speak at the public session for 2 minutes, you're fine to do so, but it's not a requirement that you guys are there to present all over again. It's Dolores' job to present on the letters.
Understood. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So the fourth item on the agenda was really sort of to queue up for the future as we'll get fewer and fewer applications. I think it's important for us to think about getting a sense of the community concerns, issues around cannabis in general, whether that's legal or illegal, because whether we like it or not, illegal tends to be permeating most of our blocks. I had hoped that we would have actually more folks from the community here. So we'll just start this conversation. But I would like, Jesse, if you're able to put the map up. Okay, while we're doing that, just checking, because we only have 5 people from the public that are here, just checking to see if there was anyone that was hoping to be part of this discussion around the status of the cannabis industry. And if you are interested in that, in speaking on that, please raise your virtual hand. It's okay if you were not. Hector, okay. Great. Okay, So Hector is the only person I see with a hand, so this is actually not gonna be a very long, conversation or drawn out. The whole purpose was really because we're thinking that it may make sense at some point to have another forum or another, conversation in general with the community, so that we're a little bit more informed once a lot of these changes in the regulation come on board, some of the actual legal dispensaries come aboard, that we're able to go ahead and be a conduit for the community at large and their concerns. But in order to do that, we really need to have a repository of that information. And so it's important to check in, so to speak. What I'm asking Jesse to put up right now is just, there is an interactive map. This doesn't seem like it's that many.
I think that's the other one. Like, there's a filter or something. That might be the shelters or something.
No, this is the cannabis. Oh, wait,
You want her now?
just click the one that says West Midtown. Just click that one, yeah. There we go, that's the one. I think you're right, that was the,
Like homeless shelters or something.
it was a temporary shelter or something, yeah. So this may be hard to see because it's on an email or it's in the Dropbox.
It's hard to see.
Yeah, so but do me a favor, what's really important is just look at the MC there we go. So green is gonna be unlicensed, and again, this is as reported by folks within the community.
I need to share the screen if you want.
Oh, I apologize.
No, it's not your fault.
I thought you already shared.
No, I'm just doing it live, so it's just,
Sorry, inside radio, everybody, please be patient. All right, so what you're seeing on the screen is a map that's been prepared by a community organization, Hell's Kitchen Neighborhood Coalition. We're showing at the bottom first, this is as of June 2023, and these are as reported by community members that have seen these places, or a survey that's been done by folks within this organization. So the green dots are unlicensed cannabis, we call them shops. The purple are what are called smoke shops, so they may or may not be saying that they have cannabis. And the red are unlicensed sidewalk vendors, cannabis vendors. I don't know if you've seen them. You see them more around Times Square, where there's actually these vans or these small little things that, Weed World, those types of things. And the blue dots would be licensed cannabis dispensaries. So if we scroll up across our district, and so we're taking a look from 14th Street all the way to 49th, what you'll notice immediately is there are, at this point in time, no blue dots.
but that's not.
That, right. Right, and this is as of June of 2023.
That's right.
So again, this is not the most up to date. Their website does allow you to interactively update things, but just noting broadly, and again, this is over a 2-year period of cannabis being legal, what you see are almost none on this map, no legal. And that is important to start out with, because again, we're part of a process, a community process, for being able to bring to life the idea of legal cannabis. Yet what we have instead in this 2 years is a proliferation of shops that either are advertising outright that they're selling cannabis, or that they are smoke shops and lending themselves to the idea that they may have pot for sale. And as we had already, the question had already come from the public, where is the enforcement? This is something we have already discussed and have had a letter come from the community to ask for more enforcement. But I just thought that the visual itself gives us a sort of framing to understand why the broad public, people who are not in the know, may have a hard time understanding why we as a community board are even entertaining the conversation, why we are actually enthused by some of the potential operators that we've heard tonight and on other occasions. But more importantly, this also lends to understanding why the public does not understand that these are not legitimate, because again, they're all over the place. And the only announcement that has been made by the state is cannabis is now legal. So I'd like to open it up in general to thinking about what we can see visually on the map, but also with the idea of being able to bring in a really good public discussion of how we're all thinking about how to achieve that. Again, I don't think it's important for us to debate how we feel about legal, illegal, et cetera, not important, but just thinking about how we engage the community and bringing a really robust conversation to get a pulse on how we can represent them better. So I open it up. Alan?
Well, I think the timing is right. I think the governor is now back on her heels in a way, getting this thing off the ground. And it's getting a lot more play. Errol Lewis on Inside City has had, I think, 3 or 4 programs on what's going on in Albany now. And I think someone just got fired.
Yep.
Transferred or something. So I think it's a very good time to do some sort of a panel and get people's sense. But I think one of the things would be important for us as a task force going forward, depending on how many more, is to somehow, as Joe Restuccio has mentioned several times about this thing about the 500 on the road kind of thing. I mean, I think that's something that a lot of folks don't understand because the school's around the corner, but yet, you know, so I think those kind of like nitty-gritty things that affect the applications, which are based on the SLA stuff, which doesn't affect, so I think a robust conversation, as you mentioned, a forum, if we can put something together quickly and get that pushed up through the electeds, I think would be helpful.
So I just want to make sure I understood what you're saying is that we create clarification for that, or you're saying that we make recommendations of
Recommendation, clarify and make recommendations to all of you.
Okay, thank you. Sandra?
Yeah, I guess I want to add on to that, and also that's something somewhat unrelated to say. First comment being, yeah, it does seem like there's a lot of confusion about that, and the rules are a little like not perfectly applicable to the like Manhattan street grid, which is partially why like they know the rules aren't going to be perfect, which is why they're talking to the community. But anyways, but yeah, I think we could do some recommendations, and I think both in the sense of there's some places that might be allowed that we think like should not be, like school around the corner, and then there might also be other situations where I don't know, we keep hearing this thing about maybe there'll be exceptions to the 500-foot limit, which like for the SLA also officially has the 500-foot limit, but obviously if you walk outside your door in this neighborhood, like clearly there are, I would say almost every bar is within 500 feet of another bar, and like given the overall density of Manhattan, that makes perfect sense. But I think we would want to have like, we could also give recommendations of like on like really busy streets that also have lots of bars and restaurants, maybe that's fine. And then other places we're going to be like, absolutely not. Like 1,000 feet is the bare minimum of distance. We want those areas to be primarily residential. And I think that would be another place where we could help shape future regulation. I think it's coming, but we have the opportunity to give us like, okay, it's fine on 9th Ave or on areas where there's already a large bar presence, and we kind of expect to have that kind of activity. And then other cases where we're going to say no. So that's my first comment. My second comment is like, what can we do as the board to educate people about this? Because the process of people learning, I mean, I do know, I think people are learning slowly that the illegal ones are different from the legal ones, but it is a painfully slow process, and it may not ever permeate the full like community, unfortunately, organically. So if there are things like, can we ask Mark Levine to put some stuff on the little NYC kiosks?
Yes, we can.
I don't know, but what are our options
Yeah,
for?
we can do it ourselves, and then
What are our options for educating people about specifically that like, I don't know exactly, but I think the best thing would just be tell people it's not legal unless you see this sign on the window.
which we don't know.
We can certainly create
You might
something
need to educate
ourselves.
yourself first.
No, but we can certainly create something. We have the access to Link NYC. I mean, I'm not been ever told no, but we can always go until we're told no. So.
So what I'm hearing is one, getting information from the community to, and at the same time educate them, but then also to make recommendations that we ultimately can provide to OCM and the city and the state around what we're hearing from the community we want to do. And you additionally are saying, and I love this idea, how can we be more proactive in providing an education so that people understand the difference between legal and illegal? And that's something as a task force, we could think about what are the various messages that would make sense for the board to provide, whether it's through link or whether it's literally just posting on our website. We can think about that to have for review by the full board, and if that's approved, then go ahead and do that. Is that what I'm hearing, the recommendation?
Yeah, I don't really know what our options are. I sort of fear that anyone who is checking the community board website is already, let's say, a relatively well-informed person about neighborhood affairs, and that's why I was putting out the link on my idea, but I don't know. But I think, I mean, this is, if all the places the state put ads a couple years ago to say that
It's
cannabis was
legal. Yes.
I wish we could now,
Yeah.
we can't do it ourselves necessarily, but what can we do on a smaller scale to promulgate that knowledge more broadly?
We can use a lot of venues, and in terms of, yes, the people who go to our website are looking for us because they know us, but internet searches also bring MCB4's website too, depending on the topic.
OCM has a list of the authorized illegal dispensaries. Maybe we could put a link to that from the webpage, from our homepage.
Great idea. That's a great idea. The legal one.
Yeah, these are the legal dispensaries.
It's already on a city website, it's on a state website.
It's on a state
I don't mind
website.
doing that, that's
Yeah.
fine.
So how about this? Don't die trying to get high. Use legal. Sorry.
Talk about.
I'm sorry. That was jingle there.
It had legs. Oh, that's what you said.
That's a great idea, Lowell, is literally, and that's something that can be done right now, is we're linking directly to OCM's website saying, are you, maybe, information on the legal cannabis
Right.
shops, right? Any other ideas?
I like the idea in general because it will be good for the community to also hear the tension that we have. So for example, the one that we were split on last month.
Yes.
And I thought that was a great discussion with the full board near the end, because you could see. So for me, the tension is, how do you penalize an applicant who has done everything right? They come in, they're prepared, they appear to be as if they would be good neighbors. Then you have a community person come up. They don't distinguish between legal or illegal, and they have 4 shops around them, and we're asking them, accept this one because it's legal, and we believe that the legal will force the illegal ones to close out. So I think it's a robust conversation to have. Yeah, so for me, I look at each one. It's easy when they're not prepared. I can easily say no. Yeah, like I knew the 9th Avenue guy wasn't gonna make it, or woman wasn't gonna make it, but when they're prepared, and then you have the community come in and say, we've reached out to the landlord. I don't want the landlord to benefit now because he's gonna try to get legal tenants. So I just,
Right.
so I think it's good for them to hear the tension. I don't want people to think we're sitting here just saying yes to the application.
So
We are-
basically clarifying our role
Right.
and our understanding of the concern and the issue that's out there, but distinguishing that even more clearly than we've been trying to, that we're providing the service of vetting those that are trying to go through the process legally.
Right.
Great.
My view of this situation has changed based on the visit I had from some out-of-town folks. Who knew that that marijuana was now legal in New York. And they're consumers of it, and they would walk around and say, whoa, we bought from here, we bought from there.
Wow.
The stuff here is really good, all of them illegal shops, right?
Wow.
Nor did they care. I told them, that's not a legal shop. They didn't care. So I've come to kind of lean to where Rodney is that I think we're losing the enforcement battle here. And to win this, I think we're gonna need a surge from New York State to really tackle this big I'd like to see the state put a lot more pressure on landlords who are leasing to unlicensed dispensaries. I'm not seeing enough from the state in that area. I would love to see, better signage in the 1 or 2 legal places that they are licensed. Something like, the restaurants have, where they have a letter A or B or C, where it becomes clear that this is a licensed dispensary and only these places are licensed dispensary. I would like to see, OCM increase its budget for its legal battle, because it's becoming very big business for attorneys to defend illegal dispensaries to stay where they are when the state is trying to kick them out. And that legal battle is being lost as well. So they're able to win in the courts. So
Those are some good suggestions. So what I'm hearing here is to also provide, as a task force, some recommendations on how we can beef up enforcement, but also to think about through the budget task force, where can they be asks, even though that's for the city, but where can there be concurrent asks to the city on providing some support for some of these issues? So those are some great suggestions. Jesse, suggestion.
I don't want to go on more. I had one more. It just occurred to me while I'm listening here. We get all these applicants in here, and it's to their benefit if we can shut down the illegal ones. I think one of the things we should be asking the new applicants is what steps they're willing to take to help shut down the illegal dispensaries, get them involved in the process. Because it's to their benefit to shut down the illegal dispensaries.
We did hear from the application last month, which was Wow Cool, which we had spoken about. They have been lobbying, because they already have a dispensary that is open on Bleecker? No, not Bleecker, sorry. East Village.
Or East Village.
Lower East Side, yeah, it's not East Village, it's Lower East Side.
What are they called?
Wow Cool. So they've been lobbying in Albany. They have been active in that, and the application, which was controversial as well, has been very well versed in the entire question of illegal versus legal. That's a great idea.
I think they're in the Bowery.
Bowery, that's right. Yes.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Before you go, Hector, did you have something that you wanted to say before we go to Jesse? And it's okay if you don't.
That tells you to
Yeah.
You got your Superman shirt on today.
Thanks. Yeah, I wholeheartedly wish we could find a way to I don't know, somebody to take the leadership role of getting these shops, the legal ones, together and actually combat these illegal ones. I know there was talk, but it's just talk so far, from the what was it, Cool, what did you say it was again? Cool, the name of the week up? Yeah, anyway. Yeah, they were the only ones that really mentioned something like that. And honestly, at this point, it could just be all talk and conjecture at this point. But I really wish there was, I think that should be included with, when you guys are inquiring about their plan and everything and how they're going to move forward. And
it's a great idea that we'll had, and Hector, I think you're right. I think that's something that we do need to hear the commitment of these businesses to the community and trying to help solve the problem.
Yeah,
Great.
and also, and just one more thing, the community outreach. Like I said, I don't know. I've yet to see any of them really do any serious outreach. I'd like to find out how would they do that. You know what I mean? I mean, they said, oh yeah, we'll be good neighbors and everything, but how are they going to effectively do that? That's what I'd like to hear in some of the future meetings when they're being interviewed.
Great, thank
Okay.
you.
Thanks.
Yeah, should ask the question in the questionnaire. Thank you. We have another hand raised, Matthew. We're gonna bring you over just a moment.
Am I joined?
Hi, yes, you're here. Welcome, Matthew.
Hi, how's everybody doing?
Great.
I just wanted to say, first of all, that you guys are doing an amazing job. You put so much time and effort into this. But in listening to these meetings, I fear it's such a waste of time without enforcement. And somehow I think CB4 has got to use your power to go to somebody and say, listen, we cannot do our job without enforcement. I think the idea of a sign is fantastic, but who's going to enforce the fake signs? There are illegal dispensaries that have signs that say, we are a legal dispensary, okay? So without somebody enforcing it and shutting these people down, you have the second problem, which legitimate people are coming to you with legitimate businesses, and the community is against it because of the illegals, and you're not giving them the license, okay? So you're actually working in reverse when you put them down. Without enforcement, you're wasting your time. It's too much at this point. You go to other cities, Boston, wherever you go, there are no illegal shops, none. There are none of them. So I just think that somehow you have to get to somebody to help with the enforcement part of this, of what's going on here in order to get the legal shops going. But I just wanted to thank everybody for the hard work, but it's so frustrating because you see these illegal shops everywhere next to the legal shops. There's one right that opened down here on, where is it? Between 6th and 7th on 23rd Street. There's an illegal shop right next to it. You know, they can't, you know, how are they going to survive? They talk about they can't survive with the illegal shop being next to it. So I wish there was something more we could do to get the enforcement done, because otherwise it feels like we're swimming upstream.
Absolutely. Before you leave,
Alan
wanted to ask you a question before you leave. Yeah.
Matthew, how are you?
Fine, Alan, how are you? Thank you for the hard work.
Thank you. How many residents do you represent?
Well, there's 750 apartments, so it's probably 1,400 residents. I think it is about 1,500.
Wait, how about sending a message to all your residents to contact their state representatives to get something going in Albany? That's a good start.
Absolutely start that way.
Good.
Absolutely start that way. Because, you know, we had the problem, not a problem, but we had a store that wanted to open here.
Yes.
Yeah.
We know.
We had a small portion of residents that didn't. And when you actually spoke to those residents and you told them, well, have you been to a legal store? Oh yeah, there's one right down the block, Matt. I said, no, that's not a legal store. So, and once they understood what a legal store was, they said, oh, sure, there's no problem with that. Why wouldn't we want to have that? So that goes to the education of what a legal store is. But to get to each one of those people, you know, it's just really hard. You got to get rid of these illegal stores. And you know, I also think that we should do a better job, maybe as people, is vetting the building or the store before they come to talk to you. For instance, that convenience store that you turned down and that Miguel talked about as on community board, we've talked about that store 1,000 times. I mean, they have round the clock police watching that store. That person should not have been allowed to make a presentation to you. You wasted 45 minutes of your time by they're just trying to make it a legal place to sell their illegal drugs. So I would hope there'd be more vetting in who's coming to you with their bill, like what space that is, before you even have to talk to them, because there is going to be people who just going to put illegal businesses in that. But that's besides the point. I just want enforcement, and I will do that, Alan. I appreciate that, but I just want to say you guys are doing a yeoman's job, but it's like swimming upstream. So thank you,
Matthew. Thank you.
Keep swimming.
So Before we get to Jesse, so just a point, and I think it's important because there are not that many people left that are from the community on, but there may be people who watch the recording. So, you know, we all know as a community board, we're advisory, and that we do not have the authority to actually change the law, and we don't have the authority to enforce the law. However, our voice does have an opportunity to amplify the voice of the community broadly. So the whole idea of this discussion was to think about having a forum, getting these types of recommendations, getting evidence of a community sentiment, come up with recommendations, get that through the full board, and then amplify that to our electeds and hope to see some change. So I wanted to ask you, how does April look in your calendar if we were thinking about trying to do that, or do we need more time for a forum?
For a forum, I mean, do you want to be doing it on, I mean, we can have this conversation online, but the thing about it, I'll say this, if you're looking to replace your normal meeting with a forum, that's a lot easier than trying to find another date.
So why don't we have the discussion once we find out who's on the
Yeah,
on the
I think
docket?
that matters, that's what
But
matters.
if we don't have anybody that's coming on the docket, do we think that a month from now at our usual time is a good, yeah?
The sooner the better. We're
Great.
losing the enforcement button.
No, I think so.
It's gotta come down.
Yes, and Jesse, you've been chomping at the bit, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, but it's always like, I feel like it's a moment, like everybody's gonna leave. I just wanted to say a couple of things, as we're through this process. To Sanford's point about educating the community about the difference in event. I think the most organic way to do that is to get more legal shops open, and I think that's the problem. You guys have been doing, like the gentleman just said, yeoman's work in trying to decipher between all of this, right? No one knows that you guys are actually turning down probably 50% or more, right? No one knows all the work you're doing, and we're approving these pretty good applicants, but they are not getting approved at OCM. And until they do so, people can't see the difference unless you're dragging them to 23rd Street in our neighborhoods. But until they see that difference, I think that makes it, and then I really think we need to push on OCM to say, okay, you know, we're not trying to say approve everybody wholesale. We still need a review and they need to do their due diligence, but they need to start opening up legal shops to really try to create that difference. But I will say also, you've done a great job, in my opinion, you guys have done a great job, not just reviewing these applicants, which is not an easy thing to do, but, you know, you've taken the time to write a follow-up enforcement letter, which I think a big part of that, one of those major prongs of that enforcement letter is a campaign, an ad campaign, which does do more to educate what's going on, right? It's not just legal, but, you know, all the other things that included in it. I do think, though, we are at a point in time, and I know I'm saying this and I'm doing this, I'm gonna create more work for myself by saying this, is that we should, it's a point in time to know, we know enough to look back and say recommendation to OCM, both on regulations in terms of like road or street or on the same road or whatever, but also just in process. I just want to say we are stuck in a situation here because of the decisions that OCM made on how to roll this out. By putting a deadline of November 17th for one group and another deadline for December 17th for another group, you've flooded the market, right? Everybody threw in their 30-day notices with very little idea of what they needed or what they wanted, or if they had control of the space. So we got flooded, right? That's why we're seeing applicants from January, right? That's why we're still seeing applicants that were submitted back in October, because I mean, unless you guys want to sit here every day and process these, you can't, right? You're volunteers, so we have to break them up. Then they make it a lottery after that. So therefore, then it creates complete scattershot as to, you see one person from 2 blocks away, right? You see one person one month, and then the next month you see someone who's like a block away. What are you guys, as from a community perspective, that puts you guys in a very difficult position. It's the community in a confused position. So I think there's a time and place to say, we've taken this now, we've seen this happen, we need to, they have to make some changes.
So what I'm hearing from you, which is a brilliant recommendation, is that OCM actually is invited to the forum, not to speak, but to listen. And for us to be able to start out with lessons that we've learned being in the process. So they hear that, open it up, hear the comments from the community and the concerns and the issues, and then from that come up with recommendations to make.
Can we ask legal operators to attend. We can't make them, but it would be
Absolutely.
like, I would love to hear
Gentlemen
from
from
very,
Derry would love to attend, I'm sure that.
Yeah,
even people who, I don't know, have come before us, who we recommended strongly, who are likely to open. If there are any, I don't know, Jesse, you probably better idea than I do, of who, if there's any, like 2 or 3 people who, or applicants who fall in that bucket.
Yeah, no, again, this is not this is probably slowing down the conversation, I know everyone's going, but I was really frustrated when the OCN map went out. I looked at that map, right, first of all, you can see the admin letter I wrote, they got 2, they given prior preference to 2 applicants that have never come before us. So how do they decide to escalate these folks and say, oh, they deserve, you know, proximity protection, and they have no input from the community? They never called us and said, hey, we're gonna make these guys proximity protection. We don't have anything from MCB4. What do you guys think? The SLA does that, and that's bare minimum.
Yeah.
When I'm saying SLA is better than another agency.
so,
But I'm sorry, it's not finished.
Okay.
But the other issues are the 2 places that we saw that had the growers markets, right? That then came in front of us, got approval for growers markets. They then came and said, well, we want to do a dispensary, spent hundreds of thousands of dollars setting those up, the one on 40th Street, okay, and then the one on 14th Street, if you remember those guys. The guy actually held his meeting in his shop. You saw the shop behind him, right? Yeah. He was sitting there empty, waiting for OCM. Both of those are potentially knocked out because OCM gave other locations proximity protection. So like, there's a lot of, like, we both talk about spending a lot of time and effort with applicants who you think are really good. And from my understanding, these other places, there's the place on 7th Avenue that we reviewed with the Housing Works is got a proximity protection. And the place that we had a very difficult vote on last month has proximity protection. And that bumps out 40th Street and that bumps out our friends on 14th Street. I think that's a really frustrating experience.
so what you've heard is the voice of the district manager, who actually is doing really the yeoman's work in putting things in place. And just to let Matthew know, in terms of vetting, there's the vetting that's not being done by OCM, but we have someone, our district manager, who actually is going into these shops and visiting and trying to ascertain as much as possible. So thank you, Jesse, for everything you did.
The other thing, I'm thinking about the enforcement piece now, and it's probably too late for this at this point. But the state budget has a couple of line items that Governor Hochul added to increase the enforcement budget. I don't think we can lean on our legislators in time officially, because the budget's due April, you know.
It comes out like 2 months after.
Right.
We got months. I mean, if any of the last years have been any guide.
Yeah, we have to approve something at the April meeting to, you know, a letter to Brad and Tony and whoever, and Linda, saying, yes, we expect you to support this part of the budget that the governor proposed to increase enforcement.
So what I'm hearing there is this was a discussion, but that does not mean that there isn't an opportunity for someone to make a motion if this is something that we want to ask of our elected officials as they're crafting the budget.
Right, I guess I'll make a motion, because Lauren is not on the task force officially, so I don't know if that restrains you, but.
Yeah, it does. I can't make a motion to the end vote.
But I guess that's fair.
But I can write the letter when Dolores tells me to.
Okay. I think this letter, I guess the motion is just a very specific and quick and mercifully quick letter, just saying we support this particular budget line items to beef up cannabis enforcement. And I imagine there'll be some conversation with the budget task force. I don't want to step on their toes. If they want to just put that in their letter, I guess that's.
It doesn't step on their toes at all.
Oh.
Because it's spec city.
Budget task force is city, and we're talking about state enforcement. Right?
Beautiful, then no issue, then my motion is just to write that letter. Keep it short and sweet, and to say we support these line items in the budget for the following reasons. That we've discussed about why more enforcement is desperate.
A 19-page letter is fine too. So the key is that the motion is to be supportive of legislation which provides additional funding for enforcement against illegal cannabis shops.
Yes.
Now,
Right.
just a clarification, is the enforcement gonna be coming from, say, the attorneys who lean on landlords who are leasing to unlicensed dispensaries? Would it be funding for the NYPD to close them down? Where's this funding gonna go? What's the
My
thing?
understanding is that the funding is going to OCM.
Specifically OCM.
Specifically to OCM to empower them to padlock stores.
Right.
To give
Whatever they think is necessary to padlock those stores.
Right.
Give them more muscle.
It's to give OCM more enforcement powers than they were originally given.
Yeah. Okay, we have a motion.
And a budget to enact that.
We have a motion?
I second that motion.
Great. And
Oh,
Sanford made a motion.
Yes.
And Raul seconded for your notes, since you decided that you want to be this.
Does it actually give OCN more powers or just give them more money to enforce? Either one makes sense, but I'm just curious. Does it actually give them increased powers or just say, here's more money to go through the legal battle that you need?
I think the motion that you made is to provide more money in the budget for enforcement, and
Yes.
we don't
The budget
necessarily need to be.
Things that are not just money, like just money, we can include anything, it's a law, so I'm just curious to
Yeah.
understand the issue. Cause that is something that I think in our policy recommendations, which we're gonna do at a later time, and our recommendations on policy and procedure, which will probably be a later and much longer letter following the panel and based on input from that. That's like a longer term thing. But I'm just curious, in the short term, is OCM being given more powers, just so we understand?
Can we vote on this first?
So maybe the powers need to be reviewed also.
Well, the motion that we have is on the table, so.
Right now, it's just about money.
Yes, so we have a second.
That's why I'm asking, because well, my interpretation of my motion was that it was about whatever Kathy Hochul will put in the budget.
Which makes sense,
may
we would vote on
include
it now,
additional
because
enforcement
April,
powers
we
as
need
well.
to get in by the April meeting.
It has to be in.
And we can continue the conversation on other levers to pull.
I'm saying
as we get-
I support both, if both are in the
Right.
budget. If it's just money, I support
I'll
that, but
double check exactly what. the
just
budget
wanna,
line says.
just curious.
I'll do all the work.
Wow, look at that, welcome all. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? And there's no such thing as president eligible, because none of us work for the state. Okay.
Now, let's talk a little bit about the forum. Are we inviting OCM to this forum? Or is that the idea? Because if we're gonna make all this work to give them more money, I certainly wanna talk to OCM about what they're gonna do with this money.
So
How
again,
are they going to enforce?
So I think what I'm throwing out here is exactly what I outlined before, is that we literally have an opportunity to understand the community position. But what Jesse had also, what he spoke to, it's an opportunity for us to also provide education in that, as well as lessons learned since this process has started. So the forum, which I would think it would make sense to invite OCM, but not to speak, in order for them to hear directly from the community, the board, what we've learned, and the community itself on its position. And then from that, take all of that repository of information and make recommendations that we then can follow up with more conversations with OCM once that we have
Right.
that information. I don't think it's a one and done. I
Outside of
think,
the forum. Venue. Once it's done.
yes, invite them to come to a task force meeting as an item to discuss these things, et cetera. That's for the future.
I imagine the panel will be, a lot of what they do will be frustration,
Which is fine.
which is a good thing for them to hear, to just hear that people are frustrated about this issue. And they may also hear some things from, either, members of the community who have kind of thought about these issues more in depth, maybe people who are like, block associations or things like that, where they kind of already had their own discussion about these issues, also a little bit from us, maybe.
Yeah.
But in terms of the like detailed specific policy recommendations, that's probably not gonna be, if I'm understanding correctly, that's not the focus of the panel. The focus of the panel is to, if anything, like sort of get this evidence of frustration, and then next step is we can be like, okay, here's what actually needs to change in policy and process.
Yeah, I don't think we
You know
can,
what?
I don't think we can build a policy and process without at least having that input. Great.
Yeah, I just had Hector. Hector, do you have anything to say? Your hand is still up. I wasn't about this one before.
Yeah, thanks for noticing. Yeah, and on top of the education portion that you were talking about before, and figuring out a way to separate, identify the legal ones from the illegal ones. I think a part of that should be in the education portion where these illegal ones, they're using products that are not even vetted. So we don't even know what's in those items. It could be very dangerous, actually, as opposed to the legal ones that are obviously strictly monitored and enforced, and they have to follow certain rules. So I think in that education process somewhere, you really got to hit hard on that,
Great idea.
just to differentiate
Good
the two.
idea. Like I said, don't die trying to get high. Yeah, thank you.
Exactly. I'm getting t-shirts made now right now.
Perfect. All right. Anyone? It's usually my job, but I can't make a motion.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.